thank you very much. My name is Patrick Emmerling, and I'm a licensing manager in the UR Ventures office. And what I'm going to be discussing today is just the technology commercialization process here at the University of Rochester. And really, I'm going to get into three topics. I'm going to give a very brief introduction to technology transfer and the UR Ventures office, and then really get into the nitty-gritty of the process of bringing a technology from the benchtop to the bedside, of getting your innovations out of the university. So a little bit about technology transfer. Why do we have it? Why is this function even here at the university? Well, we can start off with a very simple response, and that's thanks to the Bayh-Dole Act of 1980, we have an obligation. Prior to 1980, any research that was done at a university utilizing federal funding, any IP that was generated from that was assigned to the United States government. And if you wanted to commercialize that technology, what you had to do was go to the government and negotiate a license from them. Now, there are a number of reasons why this was rather ineffective and actually wasn't doing the job of promoting innovation at our universities and commercialization of those innovations. So in 1980, the Bayh-Dole Act was passed. And distilling it down, basically what Bayh-Dole allowed us to do is allowed universities the option to retain the assignment of any intellectual property created at the universities. The universities now had the right to own the IP, but with that came a number of obligations. And first and foremost, now it was up to the university to do its level best to take those technologies forward and get them commercialized. In addition, there were other obligations such as focusing in on small businesses in the United States and doing our level best to get manufacturing done here at the United States. But the top line obligation was that our job was to commercialize, was to get these technologies out, get the innovations out to help the people that they were intended to help or solve the problems they were intended to solve. There are other reasons for commercializing that makes sense. It's really a part of our mission. We're a university that does fundamental research, and just like all research universities, the purpose of the work is to alleviate pains that are in the market, that people are addressing, whether that's a therapeutic or an improvement on computer hardware. So what we're trying to do is encourage those technologies and encourage the practical development of those technologies into solutions that can help people. It also, as Reed said very astutely 2 sessions back, federal funding is getting harder to come by. Grants are much more competitive now. There are fewer of them. So in order for universities and university researchers to fund their research, more and more we're going to be reaching out to industry. And industry, as we'll discuss later, is not really interested in pure fundamental research. They're interested in research that results in products and services that the market values and is willing to pay for and needs. So we're really trying to help our researchers see those problems and innovate towards them. There's obviously a motivation and retention of faculty component to this. We want our researchers to stay here, to innovate here at the university, and to be excited about the process. And so as part of that, there is revenue sharing. Any licenses that are executed, if they generate revenue, the university will share a percentage of those revenues with the inventor, and I'll discuss that in a few moments. And then finally, and it's last for a reason, you can see technology transfer is a revenue generation tool for the university. This isn't the primary because it takes a number of years and there's a lot that goes into commercializing a technology. But royalties do come back to the university, and the university does get to take a portion of that. And actually, as you'll see here, when royalties come back to the university after legal expenses have been paid, and I'm not going to get into that very much because Reed discussed that at length in the last 2 sessions, but the university, by policy, will share revenues with our inventors. And as you can see, for the first $50,000 of revenue, 50% goes back to the inventors, and then the rest is split between the college, the department, and the IP pool so that we can turn around and then properly protect and commercialize other technologies. Now, the percentage for the inventors does go down as revenue increases, down to about 35% when it's over $250,000. But at that point, there's so much revenue coming in, the inventors are still seeing a great deal of benefit. And this is especially true when you compare to what would happen in industry. We talked about this actually last session when the Nobel Prize for chemistry was announced with the OLED technology. One of the inventors invented the technology while working in industry and received as compensation for that technology $200. So as you can see, what the university is offering its inventors is much greater. So stepping, kind of going from that 50,000 foot view of technology transfer and going down a level to the UR Ventures office, to technology transfer here at the university. I always like to start with our mission. The mission for our office is to develop UR innovations into valuable products and services to make the world ever better. And really, I think this is, when it comes to technology transfer, this is pretty revolutionary, because what we're looking at is not just protecting technologies. It's protecting and developing innovations to create valuable products and services. That's going to be especially important, as you'll see a little later when we start to talk about the process of bringing a technology forward. So I always like to do a little bit of a comparison, because technology transfer is pretty broad. Every university has an office, and every office works a little differently. But generally speaking, when you're talking about your typical university tech transfer office, when you ask about its view on IP, marketing, and technology development, you're going to see pretty significant differences between what's typically done and what we do. In a typical tech transfer office, the IP philosophy is that we are here to protect technologies. You disclose an invention, the office will evaluate it, find the best way to protect it, and protect it. Typically through patents, but it could be copyrights, what have you. But that's the focus, filing patents. UR Ventures, we have a different approach. Our interest is filing patents that have strong business cases. And that's a very distinct difference. We're not just filing on everything. We look at each technology that's disclosed independently. We do our due diligence and look at it and say, does this have real commercial potential? Is there a good business reason why we should move this forward? Because again, as we learned last session, a patent is not an award. It's not something that you put up on the wall. This is a legal document that has real commercialization implications. This is a patent, especially, is a document that allows you to prevent others from practicing your technology in the marketplace. It doesn't allow you to actually do what you are patenting, but it allows you to prevent others from doing it, to block others. So it's a business decision. So what we do is we look at the technologies, and if an invention comes in that's really exciting, we see it has commercial potential, we'll file. If we look at technology and say, you know what, the market isn't there, we may say we're going to wait. We may discuss it with the inventors, say, okay, what more needs to be done? Or we might just tell the inventor, you know what, this is a fantastic piece of science. Publish, move forward, keep doing your research, but we're not going to file a patent. You know, we need to be very sober about this and look at the disclosures from that kind of business perspective. Marketing kind of follows suit. So if you're a typical tech transfer office and you're just filing patents, you're protecting technologies, you're going to amass a very large portfolio of technologies. And those and because you have such a large portfolio, it's very difficult to market everything. You can't actively market 1,500 technologies, or 1,200, or even 1,000, 500. So you're going to spend a lot of time passively marketing technologies. Whereas our approach at UR Ventures, because we're trying to be very sober about what we file on and how we protect it, we're trying to be more targeted in our marketing. We do a lot of work in using the lean startup methodology, which I'll discuss a little later on, but it's a way of evaluating a technology for its commercial opportunity, for its commercial potential. And by understanding the customer better, by understanding the market better, and what their pains are, what value we can bring forward, we can target our marketing much more effectively. So we're not either spinning our wheels just trying to get everything out there in a passive way, or marketing one technology heavily but missing the target. If we can really focus our attention up front on our due diligence, allows us to be much more targeted and more effective in our marketing. Finally, technology development, and this one I think is particularly important, and you'll find out in a little bit why. Most tech transfer offices do little to no technology development. And what I mean by this is invention disclosure comes in, they evaluate it, they protect it, and then start to market it. But that's it. Any developments in the technology are based on the inventor. The inventor's doing the work. Our job is to protect it and move it forward. That's not the case at UR Ventures. What we like to do is to look at the technology and say, okay, if we're going to protect this, if we're going to move this forward, we need to get it to a point where industry is interested, because there's a lot of risk involved in early stage technologies. Not that they're bad. It's, in fact, some of this stuff is revolutionary and will change the market if it develops to a point where industry can see the value and see it is worth the risk to them to take it forward, to develop a product or a service and bring it to market. So what we do is try and build value, to add value to the technology by working with our inventors to further develop the technology. And I'll get into how we do that in a few minutes. So as you can kind of see, I hope, from just that little exercise there, there's a lot of work that goes into this. And this is not something that we can typically do just one person. It's not just the licensing manager that can do all of that work. It really takes a team effort. And so we've been working very hard at UR Ventures to do a lot of project management, building a team, a cohesive team that can work on the technology and move it forward, that can work in different areas. The licensing professional understands the marketplace, can do the due diligence, the customer discovery. Our marketing team can help us put together the materials that we will be using, and our IP professionals will actually be working with outside attorneys so that we develop patents that actually have commercial potential, that have real value in the marketplace. In addition to our team, we work a great deal with ORPA, the Sponsored Research Office here at the university, because they see technologies before they're even invented. They know who is working with industry, who just got a grant, and they can help coordinate the inventors to our office. The inventors are a critical aspect of this. We can't do any of this without them, not just in their research, but also in working with us as we move forward to understand the technology, see where it could go from a technical point of view, what is and is not feasible, and then finally reaching out to industry experts. Because while we know a great deal at the university, none of us know exactly what's going on in every market at every moment. We need to talk to the people who are in the trenches, who actually understand the markets, understand what the trends are, what's at the cutting edge, what's exciting, what are people willing to invest in. So we bring all of that together to help move the technology forward. But all of this really kind of signals what the fundamental issue is when we're talking about commercializing university research, basic fundamental research done at the university. So on one side of the screen here, we have university research. It's groundbreaking, but it's fundamental. It's focused, its inventors typically are focused on papers. They're focused on getting the next research grant, to advancing their careers in the academic setting, and has rather limited input from business professionals or industry. On the opposite side of the chasm, we have industry. We have the people working in business, actually doing things. Their focus is very different. They're trying to develop solutions and products that the market values, something that people will invest in, will pay for. And also they want to sustain their company's growth and minimize the risk that the company has to take on in order to move those things forward. In between is an area that we typically call the valley of death, or really what you could think of as a chasm of risk. The closer you are to the industry side, the less risk the industry professionals will see. They look at it and say, okay, it's closer to a product. The closer to the university side, the greater the risk to them, because it's a much earlier stage technology. It might be a fantastic technology, but very little development work has been done to make it into a product or service. Typically, our technologies fall flat right about there. They're beyond just fundamental research, but they're not at the point where industry would be excited about it. They're not at a point where the risk has been mitigated enough that the industry is willing to jump on board. And Scott Catlin, our AVP of our office, who leads our office, had a great example that I like to use for this. And really what I'd like you to do is take a second and just think about apples. People love apples. Apples are delicious. People are willing to pay for them. Certain times of the year, people will bend over backwards to go apple picking, to get apple cider. They love apples. Industry loves to sell us apples. They want more of them because they know people love them. They look to the university and say, we want apples. At the university, we have seeds. We have a big bag of seeds that are fantastic, and there's a lot of potential there, but they're seeds. And we're not exactly certain which ones are apple seeds and which ones aren't. Some of them could be lemons, some of them could be stones, and we can't really tell the difference. And so what we're doing is we're walking up to industry and saying, here's a bag of seeds. Have fun, pay us for them. And industry's going, no, I want apples. So that's a rather large disconnect. And for most tech transfer offices, that's where the conversation stops. But at UR Ventures, we understand that we need to de-risk these technologies. We need to move the ball forward a little bit. We can't get it to the point of an apple, but we should be able to advance the technology. And so what we've been trying to do is, to continue with this analogy, is to grow a sapling. We're never going to get to a point where we actually do all the work, de-risk a technology completely, so that all of a sudden we have apples that we can give to an industry partner and they turn around and sell. But we can at least get it to a point where we say, okay, well, we don't have apples, but this is an apple tree. And if you take the time to refine it, to feed it, to let it grow, eventually this could, more than likely, will result in apples. There's still risk, it could die. But at least we're saying this is an apple tree, not a lemon tree, and it's not a stone. So that's what we've really been trying to do in UR Ventures, and we'll talk a little bit more about this as we move forward. So when we're talking about this risk assessment, when we're talking about taking a technology forward, we're really talking about crossing a chasm here of risk that takes a lot of work. This is not a simple process. It's not, to use a movie phrase, this isn't if you build it, they will come. The Field of Dreams analogy. We have technologies, they'll just come. No, that's not the case. We have to move the ball forward a little bit. And we have to do it in a way that we're actually coordinating with industry so that we don't build our bridge in one direction and theirs is going in a different, and all of a sudden we miss each other. We have to coordinate back and forth. So how are we going to do this? What's the process? On one side we have the unmet market pain. We can see it, and we have an innovation on our side. But how are we actually going to move forward to have that viable commercial product eventually hit the market? Well, it's a process that we like to call benchtop to bedside. And it always starts in the same spot, with the inventor. Inventor has an idea. Might be just a small inkling of something that could be done, but it's something that intrigues them. And so they take the step and perform some experiments. They start to do some research based on that idea. And if things work out well, that idea evolves into something even better. Now they look and go, aha, I could do that. I could make something even better. And once that aha moment comes, now all of a sudden we have a technology that really is exciting, innovative. And this is an image from Dr. Howell's lab in physics for the cloaking device that everybody heard about several weeks ago. But you get to that point where you're like, wow, this isn't just a really cool idea. I've done the work. I have something here. This could be something that the market or somebody would be interested in besides me. And so what's the next step? Well, you disclose your technology to the university. You tell us about it. And that's one thing I do want to stress to all the inventors in here. This is important. We don't know what you're doing in your labs. We like to walk around, talk to our inventors as much as we can to find out what's going on. But in the end, you're the ones that know what is going on in your lab, what the bleeding edge, not just the cutting edge, but the bleeding edge of technology is in the area you're focused in on. And you know what you're doing. So if you want to move a technology forward, you really need to tell us about it, and that's through an invention disclosure. And over the years, a lot of our inventors have said, it's hard, it's time-consuming to disclose. Well, we understood that, so we've been working really hard to try and make it as easy as possible. And it's gotten to a point now, if you go to the UR Ventures website, you'll see right in the top corner a button that you can hit to disclose your invention. You don't have to go through paperwork, and it's no longer a 4-page document. It's just a couple questions. What's the title of it? Can you give us a brief description of the invention? have there been any public disclosures, or are there going to be a public disclosure? And for all of you who were here last time to learn about patents, that's a really important area, because if it's already been disclosed, that really strikes at the heart of novelty for a technology. And if it's been within the last year, you still may be able to get a patent in the US, but you've lost pretty much the rest of the world. So it's important to know when those public disclosures happen. What funding has gone into this? And this kind of speaks back to the Bayh-Dole Act. Has this been funded through federal funding, or was it funded through sponsored research with a company? Because that's important as well, because if a company funded this, we need to look back at that agreement and see what were the terms of that contract, because they're more than likely there is an IP section, and that company might have rights to your innovations, or we might have an obligation, most likely we do, to notify them of an invention. So we need to understand those things right from the onset. Attach a descriptive document. That's always good to, it could be a PDF with images, or just more information than you gave in your brief description. And then some information about the inventor or inventors. Very simple. And finally, just an acknowledgement that you've read and understand the UR IP policy. I know I've already discussed this very briefly, but I want to press on this. It's something that Reed brought up in the last presentation, and I don't think we can say it enough. When you're doing your work and you think you have an innovation that's worth disclosing, when should you disclose? I'm begging you to err on the side of disclosing early. I would personally rather, in our office, would rather you disclose too soon and be in a situation where we tell you, okay, we're going to hold back, we're going to wait on this one to let you do further research, rather than too late, where you say, well, I've done a poster presentation at the ACS meeting in Boston, or, well, I've already put a pretty descriptive blurb about this on our website, or I've put a poster together that's very enabling, and we put it out in the lobby area, the main foyer of Gorgon Hall. Those are, that kills you, because those are all potentially public disclosures. Yes?
Patrick, so could you talk a little bit about the tension of, so we're here at the University of Rochester, the tension between the mission of being open and disseminating knowledge and information versus protecting IP and disclosure, and when is the appropriate time? Because students, of course, and faculty do this all the time.
Yes.
They write articles, they do posters, they go to lecture.
And we don't want to impede that at all. Our job is not to get in the way of that. What we'd like to do is just have enough of a lead time that we can file, if necessary, we can file a patent application, provisional patent application, so that when you disclose, it's not eliminating your ability to patent this technology abroad or in the United States. If you know that there's going to be a public disclosure, fantastic. Just let us know beforehand so we can quickly evaluate the technology and protect it. And then once that provisional patent, which we discussed at length in the last session, is filed, then we can take the time to really evaluate the technology and see, does this have commercial potential? But we don't want to get in the way of any of that. That's critical.
Could you also speak a little bit about, since I know there's so many young people in the room, the relationship of students versus faculty, and so the student is working on a faculty's proposal, for example, and has an invention, how that's managed, that relationship is managed, and sort of who owns the IP? The students experiment, the faculty's experiment?
Well, the university owns the IP.
Yes.
So that's a simple part of it. But our office treats every inventor the same. Whether you're senior faculty, a graduate student, postdoc doesn't matter to us. An inventor is an inventor, and we treat you the same and with the same respect. So if you have been working in you're a graduate student, you've been working on your advisor's research, and you come up with an idea, and you're the inventor, you came up with that aha, that inventive moment, you're the inventor. If it was collaborative between you and your PI, that's great. You're both inventors, equally. But that's something we work out with the inventors. Inventorship is critical to any patent. If you get that wrong, you invalidate the patent right away, either by having too many or too few inventors. So that's one of the first questions we ask, is about inventorship. But we treat students and faculty equally. It doesn't matter who you are. So, all right, let's get into the process. I keep talking about this process of bringing technologies from the benchtop to the bedside. So, you've had your aha moment. You've developed something, and you've disclosed your technology with ample time before any public disclosure to our office. Very first thing we're going to do is the licensing manager that's assigned to the technology is going to have a conversation with the inventors. And what we want to do is give you an opportunity to educate us on what's exciting about this technology. What is it really? What have you done? What is the technology? Because you are the experts in your research, not us. You know, we all have technical backgrounds, but you're the experts. We want to know as much as you can tell us about the technology. We're then going to go out and start to look at what else is out there. You know, and the example I'm giving here is with the cloaking technology. So what other kinds of cloaking technologies out there? The top picture is from University of Tokyo, which is more of an active camouflage, whereas the lower picture is actually a metamaterial from Duke. These are all cloaking, quote-unquote cloaking technologies, but they're very different from each other. But it's important for us to know what our technology is so that we can look and find that prior art, both in the literature or in patents, you know, patent applications or issue patents. We really need to have as much information as possible so we understand the landscape. If we decide as a team that this technology has the commercial potential to move forward, to protect it and to commercialize it, we'll discuss that with the inventors, and then we bring in our IP team to work with outside counsel and start drafting a patent application. And we work diligently to make sure that that application really has a lot of meat to it, and it doesn't just look at, okay, well, this is what you've disclosed, we'll write the patent to reflect that. We really try very hard to write the patent in such a way that it has commercial value. You know, thinking about potential applications that, and products or services that it could go into. Because when that patent issues, we want it to have real commercial value, because that's how you get it out. No company is going to license a technology or a patent that really doesn't have much teeth, that was drafted in a way that it doesn't protect much. Remember, as I said before, a patent gives you the right to exclude others from utilizing your invention. If you don't write the claims properly, you end up with a patent that really doesn't prevent others from doing, you know, potentially prevent them from doing what's exciting about your technology. So we want to think from day one what it takes to make this patent application really solid and commercializable. At the same time, we're looking at the technology and go, yeah, is this a technology that needs a little bit of internal development, or is it ready to go? And our office will weigh the benefits and the costs to see, well, what can we do? How can we help this technology move forward to de-risk it a little bit more so that it's a little more palatable to industry? And we'll do that through a series of conversations with the inventor saying, okay, well, here's the technology as it stands today. That's great. What other experiments can be done? What other studies can be done in-house that would enhance it, that would help us better understand how this could be commercialized? And really what we're trying to do is take your good idea and help you to make it an even better idea. Something, an innovation that's really exciting, something that's even better than you hoped. And this could be done in a number of ways. It could be through opening our Rolodex, introducing you to other researchers at the university. It's amazing to me, in the three plus years I've been here, I'll be talking to my inventors in one department, I'll say, okay, you have an issue that you know, it could be a technology that utilizes optics, but there's a computer programming issue, and the researchers are trying to figure that out, and I said, you know, there's somebody in computer science that would work, that already does this kind of work. They'd be a perfect person to talk to. And the inventors will go, I've never heard of him or her. Who is this person? And we'll say, well, they're senior faculty. They've been here a long time. Let me introduce you. Get them in a room. They collaborate. It could also be that we say, okay, well, we're going to bring in, through a confidentiality agreement, some industry experts. And they can talk to us. It could also be that we say, okay, great, you know what to do, but you don't have the money to do it. We'll help you find the capital that's necessary, to find the funding to get those projects done. That could be through grants, helping identify grants that could help. could be through the Technology Development Fund, what have you. But we really work hard to help the inventors move the ball forward just a little bit more towards commercialization. All right, so we're back on the path. We have either a patent application, we could have an issued patent. It really doesn't matter, but we have protected the technology, or we're in the process of protecting the technology. So throughout the life of this technology, the licensing manager is looking at it, evaluating it, saying, okay, well, as it stands today, is there still a commercial need? Is there still a good enough business reason why we should move this technology forward? And if yes, in what way? So one method we like to use quite a bit in our office is the lean startup approach, the lean methodology to commercialization. And really what this does is it forces the innovator, whether it's an entrepreneur outside or the licensing managers and team in the university, to look at a technology and say, okay, well, we have a technology, that's great, but who are our customers? Really, who are they? Not just general saying, oh, well, it's imaging technology industry. Okay, that's pretty broad. Who specifically? What companies? What people in the companies? Who are our customers? Who are their customers? Starting to understand, okay, well, what drives them? What are the gains that they're looking for? What are the pains that they're dealing with? And then turn around and look at our technology and say, okay, well, can we put together a value proposition utilizing our invention here that could address their wants, their needs, and their pains? And then once we have a kind of fit between those, can we put together a business model where we envision this technology moving forward? Would it be a startup company? Would it be in an existing company? A lot of that you can do internally, but not as much as you think. Most of this, you really have to reach out and talk to people, talk to industry experts. As I was saying before, we know a lot in our office, but we're not experts in every field. We need to talk to industry experts. So we have a lot of conversations, non-confidentially, with outside experts, talking to them, seeing what they see as the real pain in the market. Because while our inventors may say, oh, this is a huge problem, and we may look and go, yeah, that's a huge problem. We go out and speak to the practitioners, the nurses, the doctors, what have you, and say, is this a problem? And most of the time, they may say yes, or they'll say, no, we have solutions to that. It's not pretty, but it works. The real problem is this. That's fantastic. While we may say, okay, well, that road's gone. We've just figured out what actually is a problem in the market. And maybe we've gotten a step closer to finding something that people will pay for, an innovation that really they have a need for and that they would be willing to invest in. And as you can guess, this isn't a process that's a one and done. This is continuous. We're always talking to our quote-unquote potential customers, non-confidentially, trying to take the temperature, see what's going on, see if they're interested, refine our definition of the customer and the value proposition, redefine the business model that we're developing, and continuing to go forward. Because the ultimate goal of all of this is that we license the technology. We actually have a patent license agreement executed with an entity outside the university that will take the ball forward, that will take the technology and actually bring it to market. And that could be to an existing company, large, small, medium, doesn't matter, wherever in the world, could be. It really depends on the technology. It could also be a startup, one that may include the inventors, may not. It really depends on the technology, on the market, and what is the best path forward for the technology. So as you can see, just from that kind of quick walkthrough of the process, this is a fairly complicated task. It's not just simply saying, okay, you have a technology, we're going to file a patent, turn to industry and say, take it. It doesn't work that way. And conversely, it's not industry saying, okay, university, we want you to take this therapeutic that you potentially have, take it through phase 3 clinical trials, and when you get it approved by the FDA, call us, we'll buy it. That's not the case. It really is a back and forth conversation, learning, okay, what does the market need? What can we do? What does the market need? What can we do? To have both sides moving closer and closer to a meeting point so that we can de-risk the technology enough that if everything goes the way we'd like it to go, there's a meeting. There's a licensing event, and when the technology actually gets off campus, gets into the hands of the people that can further develop it, further refine the technology, and ultimately bring it to the market so that people will pay for it, people will benefit from the innovation, and we'll have achieved our goal of bringing your innovations forward to the market to create, to make the world ever better. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk to you about. I would value any questions you might have, but thank you for your attention. And please come back next month. Reed has another fantastic presentation to give on how do you identify exciting new technologies and technologies that should be disclosed. It's truly an important one, and I highly endorse that you join us. So thank you.